Hi everybody, it's Chris Stokes from Custom Fitness, and today we're talking about changing your plank. So why would you want to change your plank? Well, whenever we do something too long the same way and don't provide the body with enough challenge, then we typically tend to plateau. And a lot of people are getting to where they hold these planks for 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, even longer, just to show that they can. Well, that's good, and it does build strength through the core and everything, but the problem is that we don't do regular life just holding still. So we don't typically need our body to engage without movement. What we need is to be able to move and have that core be functional. So after we get to a point with that plank where we can start to hold it longer and longer, maybe it's time to change it up, kind of experience some new things. So when you're doing a plank, remember that you can modify it several ways. So you don't have to be on your hands and toes. You can do a low plank on your forearms, leaving those on the ground and on your knees if you need to. You could also modify it up on a bench where maybe you were holding on to a higher surface and has your feet up behind you. You can do that forearms or hands. So remember to take it at your pace and modify where you need to, because you don't want to go too fast on building up to a harder version if you don't have the form down from the easier version first. If you do that, you're more likely to lead yourself to injury and end up being out of commission for longer, to where you don't really get to reap the benefits of the exercise, because you got to take breaks while you heal up. So we want to make sure that you're doing the right level for you. So today is a little more advanced. It's more for people who have been able to do planks, able to hold them for at least a minute with good form, and then they can start to improve what they're doing movement-wise with that plank to make it a little more challenging to the core. So I want to talk about real quick about your form and technique, kind of what you should feel during a plank, and then we'll get into those exercises. So form and technique for a plank, I love to do planks on a smooth surface and without shoes, so that you really have the chance to feel the body working for you rather than relying on the traction of your shoes. So often we have that shoe with the rubber and we press it into the floor and it just kind of sticks there and holds us there. But if you're on a slick surface, possibly in socks or on discs, and you've got to hold the body in that position, you're going to feel a whole different plank than what you normally would. So in our plank, remember that we need a nice level back. We don't ever want to sway the low back down towards the floor, and that's whether we're on our knees or our toes. And again, forearms or hands. Today's planks I'm going to show you on our hands, but you can easily modify them on the forearms. It's going to limit the range of motion a little bit. So in your plank, as you're holding just a regular plank here, we want to make sure that we get that long flat back, that our shoulders are flat, and our hands are directly under our shoulders. So we're not pulled out here in front, but rather right on top. And then we want to think about pressing our heels back behind us while we hold that, okay? Now the tricky part is, it's like you have a mat underneath you and you're gonna pretend like you're squishing it up, so you're not actually gonna move or pull or anything, but you're gonna engage to where your toes and your hands are sliding towards each other. That pressure is pulling in so that the engagement comes through the core rather than just in the arms and the toes. So we wanna make sure that we get a lot of pressure in the right places. So when you're doing your plank, what should you feel? Well, you're definitely gonna feel the upper body working, but you should definitely feel that core tightening, pulling in, belly button to spine, up towards your chin, and you're really engaging that whole central part of you to be able to maintain that position. So again, slick floor socks, definitely a great idea to practice, because you're going to start to want to slide away. You're going to be pushing back, especially if you're used to doing planks in shoes. So to stop that, we do the slick floor in the socks, and we start to work on pulling in. And if you notice yourself pushing away, pull it back in. So that would be something to practice to get to that point where you start to change this. But if you can't yet hold that plank on your own accord with your own muscles, then adding extra movement to it really isn't beneficial for you yet. So we want to make sure that whatever you're doing is beneficial. So for today's planks, I've chosen to use some discs here, and we're going to use those to help destabilize us. So stabilization would be our shoes on the mat holding that traction. Destabilization is where our muscles now have to work in order to hold us in a stable position. And that does take some practice, so it takes a little bit of work there. Again, you don't have to use discs, you could use just socks on a slick floor. We recommend for our clients, at carpeted surfaces, you're using paper plates, and on slick surface, if you don't have socks on, then use a washcloth or something like that. We just have little pieces of fabric that we use for ours. Makes it really easy. If you know anything about us, you know that we're all about taking away every excuse that you could have for exercising. So when you can use paper plates or socks, you really run out of exercise excuses as to why you can't get that done, right? So for today's 3 exercises, we've got 3 great core exercises working from a plank position. And remember that it's more about your form and technique than it is about speed or quantity. We want to really take the time to get that form, to really be squeezing, to be making sure that you're getting every ounce of effort out of that, okay? So our first exercise is a mountain climber. And so we put our toes on the discs. We're going to come back into our high plank position here to where we get that long flat back. And our mountain climber, a lot of people will just kind of run it in, make it really fast, put a lot of weight, and they're shifting forward and back a lot. So our goal is to stay directly over the hand, keep the elbow nice and soft, don't lock it out so those muscles are being worked. We might as well tone the arm muscles while we're at it, right? So we pull it in, but the slower you can move for a core exercise, the more you're actually going to engage the right way. So as you pull in, try to lighten the weight on this front foot. Instead of digging it in and holding yourself there, lighten that weight, put all the weight in the hands and your rear foot. Push it back and switch it out. If you want to switch at the same time, that's fine, but still take a pause at the front to lighten that weight and put it back in that back foot. So you can do it several different ways. If you're looking for more cardio emphasis, obviously be moving a little bit faster, but what you gain in cardio, you are going to lose a little bit in that form of technique as far as pulling in the core and really isolating that. So if you're wanting a core exercise, that might be a better way to do that. Slow it down, take the weight out of that front foot. Exercise number 2 is a plank tuck. So we take our plank tuck, same high plank position right here, and we pull both knees in without moving the shoulders again and push it right back out. So the goal is not to have this shift of the body where weight exchanges between front and back, but rather to maintain the weight in the hands, pull in, press out, press to those heels. Pull in, press out, and press to the heels. Again, all the while maintaining that core engagement, making sure that as you extend out to that full plank, you're engaging inward, pulling hands and toes towards each other as you press out through the heels. So both of those are going to work through the front here, but what can we do for the side in a plank position? Well, without going into a one-arm plank, side plank, any of those kinds of things, what we're going to do is we're going to take that same plank tuck and we're going to make it an oblique. An oblique is just talking about to the sides so that we can work the oblique muscles of the abdomen. So we find that high plank position again, we slide back, and instead of pulling the knees directly in as we just did, we take both knees to one shoulder. We take it back out and we twist to the other shoulder. Back out, and we just keep alternating. What you'll notice is the shoulders still don't move. We're not rocking forward and back. We're still maintaining central pressure so that we've got the body directly over our center. The arms are still soft. We're still using our good form on that extended plank, making sure we engage on the way back, and we're taking our time with it. Because again, racing through it isn't going to give you better form. It's not going to give you better abs. It's just going to give you more reps. So instead, slow it down. See what good you can get out of that slower rep. So hope that gives you some great ideas to start working on your core. If you'd like some great exercises to do that are really focused and customized to you, feel free to give us a call, 806-322-3188. We'd love to sit down with you for a consultation, just see if we're the right fit for you. Hope you have a great night.